Let's get started with our first news. UFC is finally taking action on the ongoing issue of eye pokes. Veteran referee Herb Dean has confirmed that an important meeting will take place on November 4th to directly address eye pokes and other fouls in the sport. Speaking to Helen Ye, Herb made it clear that enough people within the UFC community are fed up with the situation, and this time, something real is going to be done about it. Herb explained that discussions have been building for a while, with fighters, officials, and fans all voicing their frustration after a series of recent incidents. According to him, the pressure has reached a point where the UFC can no longer ignore the problem. He said, "Look, there's going to be a meeting where we go over that. Definitely something's going to happen." Herb emphasized that enough of the right people are now involved in the conversation, and that gives this issue serious momentum. The growing concern comes after multiple high-profile fights have been affected by accidental eye pokes, leading to controversial endings, no contests, and heated debates about fighter safety. Fans have been calling for consistent enforcement of rules or even design changes to gloves that might prevent these incidents from happening altogether. Herb noted that fighters are frustrated too, as accidental fouls can completely change the course of a fight or damage a fighter's reputation. The meeting on November 4th is expected to include top referees, athletic commission representatives, and UFC officials, all working together to find a long-term solution. He concluded by saying that the conversation already has strong momentum. And this isn't just talk, action is coming. For years, fans have demanded reform, and it looks like the UFC is finally listening. With enough support and the right voices in the room, this could mark a major turning point in how the sport handles one of its most frustrating and dangerous problems. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier has shared his thoughts on Tom Aspinall, saying he'd rather vacate the heavyweight title than fight his friend Curtis Blades. DC explained that he understands exactly how Tom feels because he went through something similar with his longtime friend and training partner, Cain Velasquez. Cormier said that during his career, the idea of ever fighting Cain was impossible for him to even consider. DC explained, "I would never take an opportunity from a friend, but I'd also have a hard time saying I'm a friend if I had something that I knew he wanted and I didn't give him the chance to get it." He went on to say that this type of situation is one of the toughest spots a fighter can be in, especially when both men are competing at the highest level of the sport. Cormier noted that his situation with Cain was different from Tom's because he had the option to move down to 205 pounds. He said, "I was small enough to be able to get to 205, and I went there partly because I wasn't the right size for heavyweight, and also because I didn't want to take something away from my brother." DC recalled that his entire career began and ended with Cain Velasquez. "There was no me before joining the team. Everything I learned came from him," he said. Cormier explained that fighting someone like Cain would have been emotionally impossible. "When you fight, you're trying to end somebody. You're trying to hurt them. I didn't want to do that with my friend." He described how Cain was there from the very first punch he ever threw, guiding and teaching him every step of the way. Cormier emphasized that Cain could have easily seen him as competition, especially since Daniel came from an Olympic wrestling background and had the potential to become a problem later on. But instead, Cain helped him without hesitation. He could have said, "This guy's going to be an issue down the line, why would I help him?" But he didn't. He still took me under his wing and made me better. DC wrapped it up by saying that he completely understands Tom Aspinall's mindset. When loyalty and respect run that deep, stepping into a cage to hurt someone who helped build your career just doesn't feel right. And as he said, fighting a brother isn't just hard, it's impossible. Move on to another news. Kamaru Usman has made it clear that he's eyeing the winner of the upcoming fight between JDM and Islam Makhachev. During a recent appearance, the former welterweight champion revealed that his next move could very well depend on what happens at Madison Square Garden when those two face off. Usman didn't hold back. He said he's ready and willing to step in against whoever comes out on top. When asked if he had any fight news or updates to share, Kamaru smiled and played it cool at first, but eventually gave fans what they wanted to hear. When pressed on whether he'd face the winner of JDM versus Islam, he responded confidently, yes, I'm going to be fighting the winner." That short but powerful statement was enough to send fight fans into a frenzy, with many now wondering if the Nigerian Nightmare is preparing for another massive showdown. Usman acknowledged that both fighters are elite in their own ways. JDM, the rising star from Australia, has been on an incredible run, showcasing sharp boxing, dangerous body shots, and crisp fundamentals. On the other hand, Islam continues to dominate with his grappling, pressure, and world-class fight IQ. For Usman, either matchup would be huge, and he made it clear that he's not backing down from any challenge. He admitted that the idea of fighting either of those guys excites him. Those guys? I don't know, man. But fighting them? I'd love it, Usman said with a grin. He sounded confident, calm, and laser-focused, like a man who's been here before and knows exactly what it takes to reach the top again. Fans have been speculating for weeks about Usman's next move, especially after his recent performances and ongoing talks about where he fits into the new welterweight picture. Now, with this revelation, it seems like Kamaru has his sights firmly set on reclaiming his place among the elite. Before wrapping up, he added, "Hopefully, inshallah, I will be fighting. Hopefully soon." That final line carried both hope and determination, a reminder that the champion's mindset never fades. Whether it's JDM or Islam Makhachev standing across from him, one thing's for sure, if Usman gets that fight, it's going to be a war. Move on to another news. Kamaru Usman has finally reacted to all the buzz surrounding a potential fight with Ilya at 170 pounds. Just weeks away from UFC 322, where Islam Makhachev takes on JDM for the welterweight title. Fans have been speculating about what comes next. And one of the biggest names in that discussion is Ilya, who's been openly teasing a move up in weight to chase double champ status. Ilya's rise has been nothing short of spectacular. From dominating at featherweight to hinting at taking on bigger names, the idea of him stepping into the cage with Usman has fans fired up. But what happens if Ilya and Kamaru, former sparring partners, end up standing across from each other at the top of the same division? That's the scenario Usman recently talked about on his Pound for Pound podcast, and he gave an honest and thoughtful take on it. Usman said his next fight will most likely be against either JDM or Islam, but he's still not entirely sure which direction things will go. He even hinted that he might end up fighting the loser instead of the winner, depending on how the match plays out. When it came to the Ilya matchup, Kamaru made one thing clear. He doesn't think Ilya plans to stay at welterweight if he ever moves up. Usman explained, "The thing is, I don't think Ilya is trying to stay here. If he does come up, he's chasing a fight, not chasing the division. He's chasing a moment." He added that if Islam becomes the champion, that might be the exact fight Ilya's after. If Islam's the one holding the belt, Ilya's going to come for him. Islam could be anywhere, fighting, winning, hiding, Ilya's still going to find him. That's the guy he wants. But even if Ilya moves up and somehow captures the welterweight belt, Usman doesn't believe he'll stick around. "I know this sounds crazy, but I don't think he's staying at welterweight," Usman said. "Why would he want to hang around and run through these big, dangerous guys? That's not what he's here for." He finished by pointing out another key factor, the UFC itself. "Would the UFC even want that?" he said. "They don't like it when fighters come in, win a belt, and then just take off." So while fans might dream of Usman versus Ilya, Kamaru seems to think it's more of a one-off fantasy than a long-term rivalry. Move on to another news. The UFC 321 eye poke controversy continues to make major waves, and it seems that real change could finally be on the horizon. Veteran referee Herb Dean, one of the most respected officials in the game, recently spoke to Helen Ye about the issue and sounded confident that action is finally coming. Herb revealed that a meeting has been officially scheduled for November 4th to discuss potential changes to the eye poke rule and how to better handle fouls moving forward. Herb said, "Enough people are fed up with the eye poke situation that something is going to be done. We have to try something. People have been talking already, and there's going to be a meeting where we go over it. Definitely something's going to happen." He added that while there may have been hesitation in the past to make significant changes, this time the energy feels different. The momentum is real, and the pressure to act is stronger than ever. But while Herb was talking about solutions, UFC lightweight Dan Hooker gave his own raw and honest take on the entire Tom Aspinall eye poke situation. Hooker, known for his toughness and never back down mentality, admitted that if he were in Aspinall's position, he would have stopped fighting immediately. He said, "Am I Tom Aspinall? Because I'm leaving. I'm leaving, bro. I'm out." Hooker laughed as he said it, but his point was clear. The injury was bad enough that continuing just wouldn't make sense. He explained that when he first saw the video, it didn't look too serious at a glance. "At first I was like, okay, that's not that bad," he said. Then I looked across at the other finger and I was like, holy wreck, he's trying to dig his brainstem out. Hooker made it clear that once he saw the second angle, he completely understood why Aspinall reacted the way he did. "That was bad, bro. That was really bad," he said. "In theory, you think you'd keep fighting?" But in practice? Nah, you're stopping. You've had enough. He added that fighters often tell themselves they'll make smart decisions, but when they're in the moment, instinct takes over. Still, even Dan Hooker, one of the toughest fighters in the sport, admitted that in this case he'd call it a day. We're stopping, he said. We've had enough. The comments only add to the growing discussion around fighter safety, as the UFC finally looks ready to make real changes after years of frustration. Move on to another news. Valter Walker, the brother of UFC light heavyweight Johnny Walker, has stirred up controversy after criticizing Tom Aspinall for how he handled the eye poke incident at UFC 321. Speaking to Inside Fighting, Valter didn't hold back, claiming that Aspinall made the heavyweight division look bad by choosing not to continue after the foul. His comments have drawn mixed reactions from fans and fighters, but Valter stood firm on his opinion, saying that heavyweights are supposed to represent the toughest and most durable athletes in the sport. Tom made the heavyweights look bad because we are big guys, strong guys, Valter said. This guy poked you in the eye one time, they gave you 5 minutes to recover and you pulled out of the fight. He made us heavyweights look bad. According to Valter, the image of the division took a hit that night because, in his view, true heavyweights should keep fighting no matter what happens inside the cage. He went on to compare the situation to his own experience, saying that he once fought through a serious injury. I broke my leg and felt something was wrong, but I kept fighting to the finish, Valter explained. I gave my best because I know I work for the UFC. I know if something goes wrong, they're going to pay for the surgery and take care of me. Valter added that fighters need to have a warrior's mentality when they step inside the octagon. I'm not scared to die inside the cage, he said. And then there's this guy who got poked in the eye and pulled out of the fight. He made us look bad because some guys don't take risks on the main card. While some fans have praised Valter for his toughness and old-school mindset, others believe his comments are unfair. Many have pointed out that eye pokes are dangerous, with several fighters suffering long-term vision damage because of them. Still, Valter's perspective highlights a growing divide between fighters who prioritize safety and those who believe that pushing through pain defines true grit. The remarks have reignited discussions about fighter safety and the pressure athletes face to appear tough even in dangerous circumstances. Regardless of where fans stand, Valter's comments have definitely added more heat to an already intense debate surrounding the UFC 321 eye poke controversy, and the fallout isn't slowing down anytime soon. Move on to another news. Khamzat is once again dominating headlines, but this time it's not for his victories. It's for the backlash he's receiving over his so-called boring fighting style. On a recent episode of the Jackson podcast, Rampage Jackson, TJ Dillashaw, and Bobby Green didn't hold back when discussing Khamzat's latest performance. Even though Khamzat has trained with them before and helped promote their platform, TJ took a moment to explain why the Chechen-born star seems to get away with underwhelming performances inside the cage. Before rolling into the discussion, it's worth noting that this isn't the first wave of criticism Khamzat has faced lately. Alex Pereira's coach, Glover Teixeira, recently accused him of being overly aggressive during sparring sessions, saying Khamzat often goes too hard on lower-level fighters, something that's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. To make things even more interesting, Khamzat is rumored to defend his middleweight belt in the spring of 2026 against #1 contender Nursultan Rakhmonov. And according to multiple sources, the two have even had heated sparring sessions in the past, where Rakhmonov confirmed that Khamzat goes extremely hard in training. Back on the podcast, TJ Dillashaw explained his take on why Khamzat's style doesn't bother some fans, even if it frustrates others. I see the dominance and I appreciate it, he said. But there's a fine line, right? We're watching a sport because of entertainment, because of the knockouts. That's why I fought the way I fought. I could have wrestled and held guys down, but no, I wanted to kick their heads off. I wanted to see highlights. I wanted to see something for the rest of my life and me knocking someone out. Bobby Green agreed, adding that the culture in the UFC has changed, especially for fighters chasing titles. They just want to fight safe, he said. They just want to win. Rampage then chimed in, explaining that stars like Khamzat don't face the same pressure as American fighters when it comes to fan appeal. They got the whole country behind them, he said. In the US, if I fight safe, I'm not going to be popular. I'm not making money outside the cage. But for those guys, it doesn't matter how they win. Back home, they're treated like royalty. Despite the criticism, Khamzat remains one of the most polarizing figures in the sport. Dominant, controversial, and impossible to ignore.